One of the hardest struggles to conquer in kids between the ages of 4 to 9 and even a little bit older is nighttime bedwetting or urinary incontinence, aka nocturnal enuresis. Parents, we know you've tried it all. You've tried waking them up. You've tried setting alarms. You may have even tried doing sleep studies. And the hard thing is, it can be frustrating to your kiddo's growth and their self confidence. Plus, if you've seen your typical run of the mill provider, they've probably just said, don't worry about it. They'll grow out of it. Yeah, sure. Now, there are multiple reasons that you can have things like bedwetting, but the most commonly overlooked factor is a miscommunication between brain and body signaling. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about how that signaling gets altered, what that does to their sleep, and how bedwetting can be associated with other health challenges like immune, digestion, and behavioral challenges. Let's help you get to the root cause of what's going on with your kiddos so we can move forward and get out of this struggle. So moms and dads, if you've done sleep studies, if you've bought the nighttime stay dry alarm, if you've made dietary modifications and now your children are getting older and that bedwetting still persists. And it's key to remember with this topic that enuresis greatly impacts self-confidence and future experiences. Your kiddos may be scared to do things like sleepovers. They'll be hiding it from you. And the experience of having to wear a pull-up to bed when all of their friends are in big boy pants or big girl underwear, it's harming to self-confidence. There are highly emotional struggles that go along with it. So I've had the pleasure of taking care of a super nice little boy named Garrett. Garrett's 7 years old, and his mom said that he is extremely frustrated because he has to wear a pull-up to bed when his younger sisters, ages 5 and 4, don't. Now, you guys have seen Benny. He's 3 months old and he's getting a little heavy. He's that 15-pound mark. He's not super light anymore. So I'm carrying him around the house. I can imagine what it's like to get a 7-year-old out of bed, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night while they're still kind of sleeping, carry them to the bathroom. We're not talking about a 15-pound baby. We're talking about a bigger kid here, and making sure that they're able to use the bathroom just like Garrett's parents were doing. And that gets stressful and it's a little tough and it's tiring. And especially if they missed it, they knew that they would have a wet bed. Despite taking dietary changes, consulting their pediatrician, and doing sleep studies, mom and dad were just kind of left out to dry. They didn't have a good explanation and they didn't have a good plan of action in terms of how can we help Garrett overcome and beat this bedwetting. Mom said to me that it was extremely frustrating that all of the providers and all of the people that they had consulted with just said, you know what, it's a phase. They'll grow out of it. Now, it was frustrating for mom and dad, but the really tough thing is it was extremely embarrassing and tough for Garrett. When we talked about it during the first visit, he got upset, he climbed under the table, and he started crying when his mom mentioned the bedwetting. Now, this is tough. That is heartbreaking to know that this is something that this little boy can't control, yet it's controlling him. So in a case like this, what do we do? We know that the nervous system is the main hub and it controls all the other systems of the body. This means it is responsible for controlling the function of the bladder. And now, while this communication system might seem like a very simple answer, it's often a very large part of this equation. If a child is struggling with a stressed out nervous system that's not functioning properly, then it's no surprise that the brain may have difficulty signaling to the child's bladder to hold the urine while the child is sleeping or to get up and go to the bathroom. This gets more complex when a child's nervous system spends so much time wound up in that sympathetic, excessive stress stuck on mode. Sympathetic tone, or this fight or flight response, is what happens when a child is responding to stress. That fight or flight is a protection response. And at any point in development, this system can get stuck on for kids. Most commonly, this is going to occur during the birth process and tend to build up over time. And we see that like a child that's struggling with motor milestones, having issues with coordination and movement processes, having sensory sensitivities or social development challenges, and even digestive and immune system struggles. Many older children that are struggling with enuresis had some of this stress happen during one of the important phases of growth and development. This got their nervous system stuck in that sympathetic tone, and the struggle of the symptoms were soon to follow. Now, where the bedwetting or nocturnal enuresis comes into play is this sympathetic tone at night. The body is so worn out and fatigued from being stressed out so long and in tension all day long that it's overreacting. So, what do you do when things are way too high on one side? We go way too high to the other side. This elicits an excessive parasympathetic response, parasympathetic being the other side of the coin, to try and balance things out. Therefore, it lets this bladder relax, release urine when it's not supposed to. And this is why so many kids that are struggling with bedwetting also are extremely heavy sleepers, they have night terrors, or they sleepwalk. The nervous system and its communication, brain pathway to the bladder, and balance, that sympathetic stress stuck on tone requiring a heavy parasympathetic relax everything balance, this is what's truly driving the issue in many of these cases. So moms and dads, if you have a little Garrett in your household, I'm here to help. After we looked through Garrett's insight scans and identified which parts of his nervous system were functioning not as great as they should, we were able to look at the balance between his sympathetic stress stuck on and his parasympathetic rest, relax, regulate system and come up with a plan specific for Garrett. Now, we can do this with your kiddos too. In Garrett's case, the bedwetting is out of here. On top of that, since starting care, he hasn't had as many ear issues, his sleep quality has improved, and he's all around a happier, more confident kiddo. Who doesn't want that for their kids? Garrett's mom and dad did an awesome job of supporting, but it was his nervous system and his brain-to-body communication that needed to be working together, and that's why nothing had been improving. Now, the important thing to remember here is that you're closer to a solution than you think. It just may be that that nervous system function is your missing link. So like I said, if you have a little Garrett in your household, let us know. Drop a comment, shoot a message, share this with somebody that you know that may be experiencing something similar. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help your kids. Can't wait to meet you. I'll see you soon. Take care.